Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If we never met before, my name is Mamadou Diallo, and the Mamadou stands for the worthy of all praises, and Diallo stands for bold. Guys, if you're new to my YouTube channel, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about, I get this question all the time, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the social media platforms. I get this question all the time. Mamadou, how do you guys get subject to deals? Guys, we do a lot of creative financing across the 50 states, and we get a lot of subject to deals. Now, let me break it down for you if you don't know what subject to is. A subject to is when you buy a property by taking over the underlying mortgage. So you take over the responsibility of the monthly payments, you leave the mortgage on the seller's name. Everything goes through a title company. You transfer deed and title on your name. You become the new owner, but the mortgage stays on the seller's name, and you, the buyer, now you're just responsible for making the monthly payments. Believe it or not, we buy properties like this every single day. Yesterday, we did a closing in San Antonio, Texas, right? Where we bought the property through a real estate agent that had this property listed on the market. Turnkey property, brand new property. The property is not selling on the market. Why? Because currently, guys, with this market, interest rates are super high, right? Most first-time home buyers cannot afford the monthly payments due to the interest rates being super, super high. And so there is a lot of properties on the market that are not selling. By the way, if you're just getting started in real estate, this is the perfect time and perfect market to get started. And if you're not reaching out to real estate agents, 90 days plus listings, you're completely missing out on deals. So we're closing on that property, guys. Turnkey property with no money and no credit, by leaving the seller's mortgage on their name, and we're taking over the responsibility of the monthly payments. And what we're going to do, guys, on the exit strategy, we're going to finance it to a homestead buyer that's going to call it home. I'm going to break that down on another video. That exit strategy is called doing a wraparound. Okay, but this is not the Zoom. This is not the video for it. Okay, today I just want to show you guys how do we get subject to. In my world, we call it sub to. How do we get these leads in the first place? Again, guys, if you're new into this channel, welcome to my YouTube channel. First and foremost, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let me know in the comment where you found me. I'm genuinely curious. How did you find me? How did you discover me? And also let me know in the comments what other topics you would love to hear about, so my team can put it on my to-do list. Okay, guys, and in case you wonder, why is this guy always saying boom, boom, boom in all the platforms? Guys, this boom stands for something. I'm not just making it up for a gimmick. This boom right here, the B stands for bold. The second O stands for obsessed. Okay, you got to be bold in business. You got to be obsessed in anything you want to do. And the third O stands for ongoing. Why? Because entrepreneurship, whether you're in real estate, doesn't matter what you're doing. If you are an entrepreneur, is an ongoing process. You never stop learning. You never stop growing. You never stop expanding. Okay. And the M stands for mindset, because without the mindset, guys, you cannot do anything. You have to brainwash yourself and learn new things, right? So you have to brainwash yourself on all the old bad information you get from your family, your friends, school, all that fun stuff, and then upload new information into your mindset and start thinking generational wealth, abundance mentality, go-giver mentality, right? And stop thinking about yourself, problem solving. How can I think bigger and not just think with the money that I have in my bank account? How can I think bigger than the amount that is in my bank account? Because there is not a lack of resources in the world. Okay, guys. So today's topic, guys, again, if you're new to this channel, please hit the notification bell right here. Okay, guys, leave a comment. So today's topic, guys, we're going to talk about how are we able to generate subject to leads. Again, subject to, guys, buying the property subject to. Okay, guys, we buy on subject to. We don't sell it on subject to. Subject to is an acquisition strategy, not a selling strategy. Okay, so when we buy on subject to, we can sell it on a wrap, we can sell it on a lease option, we can turn it into Airbnb, we can turn it into a rental, we can do a fix and flip, we can do whatever we want in the back end to generate income from it or make a profit, but we don't buy on a subject to. Usually, If somebody have their property listed and the term seems like it's a subject to term, right? That means that's an investor that is looking for a homestead buyer, and that's not your ideal customer if you're looking for motivated sellers. Okay, guys. So again, I'm going to repeat what a subject to is before I dive into how to find these leads. Okay, guys. So subject to is the art of buying a property by leaving the existing loan on the seller's name. Okay, so like for example, I just told you guys we bought a property in San Antonio, closed on it yesterday, brand new property. So we took over. I think the seller still owe 300,000 on that property, 307 and some change. So we're leaving that 307 on the seller's name. We're taking over the monthly payments. Her monthly payments is roughly 2,500 a month. So we're taking that over. We'll be making those payments on her behalf. And then we're giving her and the real estate agent. The real estate agent is getting paid on that. Her name is Mina. She's fantastic. And we love working with real estate agents and getting them paid on these deals. So she's getting paid. We're giving $17,000 at close of escrow, and that will cover both the cash to seller and the commission to the real estate agent. Okay, guys. By the way, if you're new into real estate right now, lucky you. This is the perfect market to start going after listings that are on the market for 90 days or over. Because there is a lot of properties, guys, listed on the MLS that are not selling, turnkey properties. Why are they not selling? Because interest rates are super high and the first time home buyer cannot afford to buy houses and afford the monthly payments due to high interest rates. So there's a lot of real estate agents that actually need your help as an investor, but that's also only if you're not a one-trick pony investor and all you know is to go in and call people and offer 30 cents on the dollar, meaning cash offers. You have to become a one-stop shop. You have to be able to offer sellers options and real estate agents options. You can offer cash, and then you can offer creative finance. The great thing about creative finance, guys, is so many options you can give people. Right? You can do novations. You can do list options, agreement for sale. You can do subject to. There's so many options you can do. You can do Murby methods, right? There's so many options you can give the seller to solve their problem or the real estate agent. So if you just got started in real estate, guys, this is the perfect market to start calling real estate agents that has 90 days listings or more, meaning the property has been listed on the market for 90 days or more. Okay, so back to the topic, guys. So how do we get subject to deals? Here's the reality, guys. Probably up to 90% of your subject to deals and subject to leads, meaning sellers that will let you take over their mortgage and leave it on their name and then trust you to make the monthly payments on their behalf and transfer ownership to you, they will come from this list, guys. This is one of my favorite lists to go after. And if I had to restart my real estate journey all over again at zero, this is the list I'm starting with. And that's pre-foreclosures. I want you to write it in bold. Pre-foreclosure lists. Why pre-foreclosures, guys? If you don't know what pre-foreclosures are, pre-foreclosure seller is a seller that is behind on their mortgage, or they're behind on their taxes, or they're behind on their HOA bills. And so these sellers, not only you already know they have a motivation, they have to do something, or the bank will do something about their situation. And so they have to sell, but oftentimes there's so many liens involved that they can't sell their property by listing it with a real estate agent. They can't sell it cash to an investor that only knows how to buy 30 cents on the dollar and fix and flip it. Why? Because oftentimes these sellers that are in pre-foreclosure, meaning the bank is trying to take the house away from them by foreclosing on them because they're behind on the mortgage, right? And I'm going to give you guys a few resources where you can get this list, okay? They have no equity. They have absolutely no equity. Some of them have zero equity. Some of them have negative equity. Some of them do have equity, but that's like one seller out of 10 when it comes to pre-foreclosures. Now, again, if you're new into investing in real estate, guys, if you don't understand what equity is, let me give you a hypothetical scenario. Okay, guys, let's say hypothetically, and I'll give you guys an example on the properties. I just bought my primary residence this way in Atlanta, 7 beds, 4 bathrooms. Okay, none of my own money, none of my own credit. What we're doing is we're taking over that seller's monthly mortgage, leaving it on his name. Deed and title is transferring on my name. First and foremost, why would a seller sell you their property by letting you take over their mortgage? Guys, because the seller was in huge pain. He was in pre-foreclosure. He was behind. He owed the HOA $8,000 behind, and the HOA is trying to foreclose. If you don't know what the HOA is, HOA stands for Homeowners Association. They're trying to foreclose on it, right, guys? So just so you know, if the HOA is trying to foreclose and the bank is trying to foreclose, the HOA has priority over the bank. Okay, the HOA will get paid before the bank gets paid. Okay, now in this video, I'm not going to explain to you guys how you can negotiate the HOA liens down and all that fun stuff. We do that all the time. If you want a deep dive on that, be sure to DM me, leave a comment, let me know. I'll create a whole nother video for it. But for now, notice the only reason this seller is selling me this turnkey property, 7 bedroom, without none of my own money, none of my own credit, allowing me to leave the mortgage on his name, take over the monthly payments and transfer deed and title to me, is because he's behind on some bills, which is the HOA lien in this case. But we've done my first 2 deals, guys. They were all pre-foreclosures. And my first wholesale deal I had JV partners on it, 2 JV partners. I found the lead through Driving for Dollars, and our assignment fee was $68,000 that we split in 3 ways. That was a pre-foreclosure too, guys. Pre-foreclosure. It was somebody that owned the property. He used to be a contractor, then he fell and he couldn't work anymore. Okay, and so 2 years the house has been vacant. So I drove by, and when I called him, he explained, hey, I thought the bank already took this house. I said, no, that's not how it works. Some banks take 2 or 3 years to foreclose on somebody. There's a whole process. If a bank want to take the house from you, they have to go through a judge. They have to go get approved. That's why banks hate foreclosing. Banks hate foreclosing on people because it costs them a lot of attorney fees. What they rather do is to come to the homeowner and say, hey, how about you just give us the keys, called cash for keys, deed us back the property, didn't do a sign like a deed in lieu of foreclosure. That's what it's called. Okay, guys. So if you want subject to deals, the first list you should ever go after is pre-foreclosures. These sellers have to do something. They have to do something. They don't have the equity. Realtors cannot help them. Fix and flippers cannot help them. But if you learn creative finance and you can close on subject to deals. Again, this is not a video where I'm going to talk about the mechanics on how we close it and all that fun stuff. It's just I'm going to give you guys a couple of lists that we go after to get these leads, because I get this question all the time. So number 1, pre-foreclosures. Why? High pain point sellers. They've already raised their hands. It's public data. Everybody knows they're behind on their bills and they need to do something. So that's number 1. Number 2, guys, you want to go after 90 days plus listings. That's another great list to get that. So meaning properties that have been listed on the MLS with a realtor for 90 days or more and is not selling. Oftentimes there is a reason why it's not selling. And sometimes what you find is some of these properties, the reason they're not selling is because they don't have equity. And if you're new into real estate and you don't understand what equity is, guys, if you have a house that is worth $300,000 and the seller, let's say hypothetically the seller still owes $270,000, okay? If I ask you right now how much equity the seller has, if you don't have experience in real estate, meaning you've never closed on the property, fix and flip the property, you wouldn't know. You would probably tell me that the seller has $30,000 in equity. Well, no, they don't. In this scenario, if the house is worth $300,000 and the seller still owes Wells Fargo $270,000, guys, the seller has negative equity. Why is that? Because here's how it works. On average, it costs 8% to sell a home. Most homeowners don't know that. Why? Because real estate agents don't educate them on this topic. If you sell in a home, you, the seller that is selling the house, whether you're a fix and flipper or just a regular homeowner, really doesn't matter. When you list the house, there's two people involved, actually three, right? There's you, and then there's two real estate agents, actually four. Let me take that back. There is you, and then your agent that is representing you to list your house for sale. And then there is the buyer that want to buy your home, and that buyer also have a real estate agent. That buyer also have a real estate agent. So your real estate agent representing you as the seller is called the seller's agent. And then the real estate agent representing the buyer that will make an offer on your home is called the buyer's agent. These two real estate agents nationwide on average, they get paid 3% commission. 3% commission on the purchase price, meaning if you list your house for $300,000, the seller's agent is getting 3% of $300,000, and the buyer's agent is getting $300,000, 3% of $300,000. That's already 6%. Okay, let's use a calculator, guys. Let's use a calculator. Why? Because I'm a school dropout. I'm not that smart. I'm not going to try to do the math in my head. So $300,000 times 6%, that's already $18,000, guys, that goes directly to the real estate agents. Okay, this is called commission. And guess who pays the commission? The seller, the person selling the property, is the one who pays both agents. Okay, you pay the seller's agent, which is your agent representing you as a seller, and you're the one that also pays the buyer's agent. So if you list the house for $300,000, are you really walking away for $300,000? You absolutely not. So 6% is already out of the window. Okay, so that means if I list it for $300,000 and $18,000 is already going to the realtors minus $18,000, guys, I'm left with $282, right? $282. Now I have to pay the closing cost. By the way, the reason most sellers or even investors that have never closed on the property as a buyer, okay, and fix and flip a house that are noticed is because real estate agents, most of them, not all of them, but most of them are not professional enough to inform you. If you as a seller, you're selling a home, there is one document you should always request from your real estate agent, because they'll just come in and say, yes, I can list your house for $300,000 and it will sell. Or you tell them you want to list it for $300,000 and they know full well is not going to sell for $300,000 because you have no equity, but they will still regardless list your house for $300,000 just because they want a listing. Because real estate agents work for a commission. And so because they want the listing, they will, instead of telling you, hey, let's say hypothetically I'm the seller, hey, Mamadou, that's not reasonable. You don't have equity. Here is the breakdown. If we list it for $300,000, you may have to write a check to sell your home. Okay, guys? So here's one document you need to ask your realtor if you're listing a home. Ask them to send you a seller's net sheet. Let me repeat that. Ask them to send you what is called a seller's net sheet. A seller's net sheet literally breaks down for you exactly when you list it for $300,000, how much net after you pay Wells Fargo, after you pay the commissions, after you pay the closing costs and miscellaneous fees that's going to come up at close of escrow. There's always miscellaneous fees, guys. Always. Buyer's insurance, buyer's concessions. There's always something that you didn't plan for. And so in this hypothetical scenario, to sell this home at $300,000, you will spend close to $35,000 or $38,000 just in closing fees, closing costs, including the commissions, closing costs, and all these other miscellaneous fees, believe it or not. And so with that being said, if you still owe Wells Fargo $270,000 and you're looking to sell this property for $300,000, you list the property, guess what's going to happen? At the close of escrow, the real estate agent, your seller's agent, is going to come and say, hey, Mamadou, great, we have an offer on the table. But because $35,000 is going to all the fees, paying me, paying the buyer's agent, paying the title company for the closing costs, you have to come to the table and write me a check of $10,000 or $5,000 to close on this. So you're trying to sell the house so you can walk away and make some money, but instead, what's going to happen if you don't have equity? You have to write a check to close on the property. You see why? You see why a real estate agent cannot help a seller that has no equity or negative equity or underwater? Because the seller have to write a check to sell their home. But guess what? If they already couldn't afford to pay their bills on time, they couldn't afford to pay their mortgage. That's the reason why they're behind on their mortgage. You really think they can afford writing a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, sometimes $20,000 check to close on the home? And that's the same reason why we just closed on this deal in San Antonio by taking it over subject to, because when I broke this down to the seller, she was like, whoa, I have to write a check to sell my home? Why would I do that? I'm like, yeah, why don't you just let us write you a check of $5,000. We pay the closing costs. You leave the mortgage on your name. We restart making those payments so we can fix your credit. We take ownership of the property, and the property is ours, and you walk away. Win-win situation, right? And we get the real estate agent paid also by doing this. We solve the seller's problem. We solve the real estate agent's problem, because the real estate agent, which she is awesome, her name is Mina, she had this listing for, I think, 3 months, right? Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, right? I don't remember the exact time frame, but the reality is she's like, this thing is not selling. It's been sitting on the market for a while. And everybody's calling me and offering me lowball offers that don't even cover the underlying mortgage that the seller owed. The seller bought this property 2 years ago. And if you know anything about real estate, 2 years is too small for a property to go up. So if you are asking yourself, why would a seller sell a property on subject to? Why would a seller allow you to take over their monthly payments, leave the mortgage on their name, and then transfer deed and title? Why would somebody do that? Well, first and foremost, 99.9% of the time is because they have a huge financial pain. They're behind on their payments, on their mortgage, they owe the IRS some taxes, whatever it is. It's always financial issues. And they want this property gone, and they want that problem gone. That's the reason why. So if you want subject to leads, the first list you should go after priority-wise is pre-foreclosures. That's my bread and butter, guys. I love pre-foreclosures. The second thing is, why would a seller, because let's say hypothetically, there is properties, guys, we bought a property in Clinton, Maryland. We bought it the same exact way. We bought it subject to. We took over the seller's underlying mortgage, so we're responsible for the monthly payments. He left the mortgage on his name. The property is worth $500,000, and we're turning that property into Airbnb. His monthly payments is $2,700, and Airbnb is going to bring between $10,000 to $11,000. So the question that I got when I did a video, by the way, that video is in my YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you check it out. The question that I got is, why don't the sellers just do it themselves? Why would the seller let you take over their mortgage, right? Leave the mortgage on their name, transfer deed and title on your name. You go ahead and make cash flow on their property by turning it into an Airbnb. Why would the seller not just take their property and turn it to an Airbnb themselves? I get that question all the time. The reason being, guys, is because the number one rule in real estate, by the way, guys, is don't put your head in the seller's head. The only reason you're asking yourself that question is because you are an investor. And so if somebody were to call you on a property that you own, you wouldn't do that. You would tell them, hey, I'll just list it myself on Airbnb. But that's because you're an investor or an aspiring investor if you don't own any properties. But for the seller, this seller is a retired military, already moved out of state, got family, he just want to chill, kick it. He owned one rental, hated it, hate dealing with tenants, hate dealing with toilet leaks. He's not a full-time, he's not interested in scaling, he's not interested in responding to Airbnb guests. That's the reason why he would sell it, because he doesn't have the time, nor does he want to have the time to deal with rentals. It doesn't matter whether it's Airbnb or regular rental or lease option. It doesn't matter. He's not a full-time investor. That's the reason why a seller will sell you their property, completely walk away with no money. We have many properties we've bought subject to, and the seller walked away with no money, and they were happy to walk away with no money because guess what? They technically walked away with money because they didn't have to write a check at the close of escrow. We did that. But because they had zero equity, sometimes they have liens. We need to pay off at close of escrow in order to be able to get clear title and close on the property. And so because they're behind, let's say hypothetically you buy a property, the seller is behind $8,000 on the mortgage, that need to be paid at the close of escrow unless you negotiated that down, whatever, which guys, we have an in-house team that completely handles this and have an extensive experience negotiating with the banks, negotiating short sales, stopping auctions, right? We do this all the time nationwide. So if you need help with that, make sure you DM me and I'll hook you up, right? But that's the reason why they sell. The reason they sell that way is because they're not full-time investors. So if you're asking yourself that question right now in your head, remove it. Don't put your head in the seller's head. So number one, guys, pre-foreclosures. Number two, make sure you go after also listings that have been on the market for 90 days or more, especially with this market and moving onward. Creative finance is going to dominate. So you better start learning how to pitch creative finance and give sellers and real estate agents creative finance options, not just cash options. By the way, if you want to be a great investor and want to do more than one deal every 6 months, you have to become a one-stop shop, guys. What is a one-stop shop? If you come to me right now on my team, I can offer you cash, okay? I can offer you creative finance with 7 different options, which I'm not going to discuss here today, guys. I'm going to do another video where we go over and break down what is those 7 different options when it comes to creative finance. But I can give the seller creative finance options. Okay, guys, and I can also give the seller an option to connect them with a great real estate agent to list their property if that's the best route for the seller, and we still get paid on that. That means I am a one-stop shop. When the seller talk to me, they don't need to talk to you. I got everything in-house. And you better, if you want to be a great real estate investor, this time and age, you better become a one-stop shop. If somebody talk to you, they shouldn't have to go talk to anybody else. Why? Because you got everything in-house. If you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm not a licensed real estate agent. Neither am I. Neither do I have any plans on being a licensed real estate agent, because being a real estate agent is a job, guys. Real estate agents don't invest in real estate. At least 99.9% of them. They work for a commission. But guess what? You can squad up, partner up, collaborate with real estate agents. Your network is your net worth. Build your network. Why don't you have a real estate agent friend? Why don't you have 3? Why don't you have 4? In every single market we do deals in, which is Texas, Atlanta, the Carolinas, Florida. This is our favorite markets. We do deals in other markets, but this is our top 4 markets. We have a real estate agent in each of these markets. Some of them working with us on our team on a daily basis. Some of them great friends that we've built relationships with. And so if we have a seller that actually need to list their property, guess what? We refer them. We refer them to those real estate agents, and we love having our real estate agents make money with us. So you have to become a one-stop shop. Okay, guys. So that's the second list. The third list is, and you can use any platform you want, by the way, guys, for this list. You can go just for the pre-foreclosure. I'll give you guys a couple of resources that is best, right? For example, if you pull a list for pre-foreclosures, do not pull it on batch leads. Do not pull it on PropStream. Their data, I am sorry to say this, and I use them for other stuff. They're great for other things, for other type of lists. But when it comes to pre-foreclosure data, they're completely trash. Do not use it. Okay, guys? What you want to use is, if you want to pull pre-foreclosures data, again, guys, pre-foreclosures is sellers that are behind on their taxes, their mortgage, and whatever, and the bank is trying to foreclose on them, or the HOA is trying to foreclose on them. Just so you know, it's not always the bank. Sometimes the HOA, sometimes is somebody else that they owe money. It's not necessarily the bank. But the best resources to get those lists, fresh data when it comes to pre-foreclosures, you have platforms like foreclosuresdaily.com. That's really good. The best data forever will always be getting it directly from your county. Each county in all 50 states have a way where you can get that data for absolutely free. Sometimes it might require you in certain counties to do the legwork, meaning you go to the county once a week, get the data. If you have a virtual assistant, guys, we leverage virtual assistants to automate our business. They can clean that data for you. We use CallStar CallStar is who we use to hire virtual assistants. They handle our social media. They handle our cold calls, texting, admin. They handle cleaning our pre-foreclosure data, all that fun stuff. We hire all from CallStar. They're super awesome. Leave a comment if you need VAs. I'll be happy to connect you with them. Okay. But guys, sometimes you're gonna have to do the legwork, but the county will always be your best bet when it comes to getting the best pre-foreclosure data and the most accurate. Why is that, guys? Because when somebody is behind on their mortgage or their lien or their HOA or whatever it is, and they're getting foreclosed on, where does the bank or the lender go to file for foreclosure? They go to the county. So you cannot get better data than from the county. But the reality is, most people are lazy to do the legwork. And so they just rather go on PropStream and batch and then pull the list, and then they complain nobody's picking up. Why? Because your data is trash. Your data is trash. You need fresh data. So go on foreclosuresdaily.com. They're really good, but they don't, number one, they don't service each state. Number two, in certain states, they're limited. They don't take just everybody and anybody. They take a limited customer base type. Okay, guys. So they might be saturated already in your area, and they're no longer taking new clients. Okay. So, and then the county. And then another way, guys, is you can go. So certain counties actually put it on their website online. There's certain counties that does that. You can literally pull it from their website, but still, when you do so, you have to clean it. Okay, and just look it up on Google, guys. There's so many different websites that provides pre-foreclosure data, but the reality is, guys, you're gonna have to test it out and see which one is best. Foreclosures Daily, I hear, I have a lot of friends crushing it using that platform. We personally, we don't use that platform. We get it directly from the county, and we partner up with JV partners that are actually door knocking. That's another one that I was gonna say, guys. One of the best ways to generate leads with pre-foreclosures, which most people are lazy doing, but the ones that are doing it are crushing it, is through door knocking. So that's another strategy you want to implement. Okay. Now, when it comes to the 90-day plus listing list, guys, that one you can get it from PropStream, Batch Leads, Privy. Doesn't matter where you get it from. That one usually you don't even need to pay for it. You can literally go on Zillow, pick a market, go on Zillow, and pick the settings, properties for sale. In let's say hypothetically you go in Florida, pick it, choose 90 days plus listing type of properties, and start calling these real estate agents. They already have their information on the listing. You don't have to skip trace anybody. That's free. You don't have to spend money. Now, guys, let me tell you this. The reason most people fail in this business is because they think they can have 4 conversations a day, 8 conversations a week, and get a deal. You're trying to be lucky. You're not trying to be successful. On a daily basis, the reality is you have to have at least, guys, 30 conversations a day, especially if you're new and you don't have any sales background, you don't have a lot of experience. If me, the person that is experienced in real estate, experienced in sales now, I used to not be, but now I've done so much that it's become like a second nature because I've had so many conversations on the phone. If it takes me 35 to 40 leads to close one contract, how many leads do you think you're going to need? Guys, on average, nationwide, it takes people, the average person, it takes them 50 leads to get a contract. What is a lead? A lead is somebody that raised their hands and say, hey, I am interested in selling. And also they're motivated, meaning they have a reason for selling. It doesn't have to be a financial pain. Sometimes they gain. That's how we get seller finance deals. Seller finance is usually people that don't have a lot of pain, but I'm not going to go through the definition on that on this video here. Okay, guys? So pre-foreclosures, I promise you guys, that is like, if I just stop here, if you just focus on pre-foreclosures, guys, you'll get so many subject to deals, you wouldn't know what to do with it. That will always be the best list to go after. And then on top of that, you can add, like I said, 90-day plus listings. And then on top of that, you can add low equity type of list. You can pull those. Again, the low equity list is you can pull it from PropStream, Batch Leads, Privy. Guys, doesn't matter what you use. Some people get so caught up on the mechanics that they can't take action because they keep jumping from new application to new application, thinking one of these applications have a magic list where they don't have to do the work to get a deal. The way you get a deal is get on the phones, not a list. There is no magic list, guys. There is no magic lists. All right, guys. So again, if you have more questions about pre-foreclosures and how to get them, how to handle them when you get them on the phone, you can call these people, text them, door knock them, whatever. Guys, listen, go after pre-foreclosures, pick a market, go after pre-foreclosures, and just start calling, texting these people. And if you're local to that market, I promise you, if you have time, start door knocking. The great thing about the calls and texting is you don't have to do it if you don't have the time. Let's say hypothetically you have a 9 to 5. What you can do is you can leverage your 9 to 5 so you can hire a virtual assistant to generate those leads while you are at your 9 to 5, so that when you come back, you just do the follow-ups, lead management and acquisition, which is where the money is, right? Again, if you don't know where to hire from, DM me. I'll be happy to share their information. We use CallStar to automate our business with virtual assistants any day, in all, whether it's be texting, calling, social media, everything, guys. All right. So, guys, you want subject to deals, pre-foreclosures, okay? 90-day plus listings, low equity lists, okay? And I'm gonna do another video to break down the mechanics behind what goes into a subject to deal, what is involved. And then I'm going to do another video again. If you leave a comment and let me know if you want to hear about it, how do we overcome the objections? You're going to have a lot of objections when it comes to subject to deals, because remember, these sellers are trusting you to make their to pay their mortgage every single month, so you can repair their credit and also not destroy it, because technically the mortgage is still on their name, so they still have some sort of liability. All right, guys, so I'm going to create a whole nother video and talk about those mechanics behind it, how to find the right title company to work with that knows how to deal with this type of transactions. We're going to talk about the paperwork, guys. Don't get caught up on the mechanics. Take action, generate the leads first, then find the second step. Reach out. Hey, I just generated a lead. I don't know what to do. What is my next step, right? Don't get caught up on the mechanics. But if you need the paperwork as well, we'd be happy to provide that to you. We do some transaction coordinating in-house. We'd be happy to help you with the paperwork. But the reality is you don't need the paperwork to get the contracts. Contracts don't get you contracts. Phones and conversations is what gets you contracts. All right, guys. Again, if we never met before and you're new into this channel, my name is Mamadou Diallo. The Mamadou stands for the worthy of all praises. Diallo stands for bold. And if you hear me all the time saying boom, 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 that's because this boom right here, the B stands for bold, the O stands for obsessed, the other O stands for ongoing, because entrepreneurship is an ongoing process. You never stop learning, growing, and all that fun stuff. And the M stands for mindset. Guys, until next time, stay bold, be bold, boom, boom, boom.